I think there'll be many ballet dancers, ballerinas out there that haven't exercised that part of themselves, and it's never occurred to them because it's not something that you're conditioned to tap into.
If you hadn't been asked by the company to put yourself forward for Body Talk, I think it was in 2010.
Yes, that's correct.
Would you ever have considered choreographing?
No, I don't think I would have ever volunteered, and I don't think it would have occurred to me to put my hand up. I wouldn't have wanted to have taken a risk like that. So it definitely relied on the opportunity, the encouragement and the support that I had internally with the ballet company, and them providing a safe space for me to be able to create.
Do you think that there are more female choreographers lurking in ballet companies that are untapped, rather like yourself?
Absolutely. Look, I think knowing my journey and the expectations I had of myself, I thought it would be this lightning bolt strike me, this sort of moment of genius, and the clouds part and it says, I've got something I want to say, and it comes out of you. And that never happened for me. It was all about providing a safe space for me to take a risk and exercise part of me that I didn't even know existed. And I think there'll be many ballet dancers, ballerinas out there that haven't exercised that part of themselves, and it's never occurred to them because it's not something that you're conditioned to tap into. I think you're used to being fed the information, whether it's the choreography or the repertoire, and taught and restaged, and you learn the craft and learn the repertoire and the material, but there's not a lot of time to delve into your own ideas and interpretations of things, or to exercise your own stories and ways of moving, and how you feel your natural flow and your natural artistry and creativity, how that pours into your own vocabulary of movement. And so I think there are probably a lot of dancers, female ballet dancers out there that haven't thought, it hasn't occurred to them to have a go at choreography.
And do you think, arguably it's the same situation for men in a ballet company. They work hard, like the women work hard, and they're trained for perfection. And yet we still see more men putting themselves forward for leadership positions and for choreography. What's your opinion on that? Why do you think that is?
The difference between men and women ballet dancers is that women do all those big, massive core scenes. So you're constantly flexing that muscle, as opposed to, doing a male variation or solos. There aren't a huge heap of ballets in the repertoire that have men, in an ensemble like that, and only men standing on stage for 20 minutes cramping in point boots. There's not a lot of that. They do a lot of other things like lugging us around, which I don't envy that job, and lifting us. But I never was surrounded by a lot of women in those leadership positions. And so not only did you not see a lot of it and get used to seeing that, but when you're constantly trying to fit in and blend and not stand out, I tended to not see myself in a position where I would be leading, where I would need to get comfortable with my voice and get comfortable with being uncomfortable leading people.
And in that regard, I think, some people might be against the idea of affirmative action, where companies might say, we're going to do a female-only season. A lot of people would think, surely this should be about quality.
I think it's very easy to be able to say, oh, why do an all-female program? Because, this is old news now that there aren't very many women. You know, why are we doing an all-female program, or shouldn't it be about, like you said, on the merit of their voice? But I think there's been such an imbalance to this point that until it's 50-50, the conversation needs to continue steadfastly. It has been so one-sided, and the pressure for one or two females to be brilliant from word go. You know, the great master choreographers didn't fall out of the sky. They had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to really, you know, sculpt their voice and change it, mold it, and learn and layer it. And so, you know, if there's one opportunity for a female and it's not her strongest work, is she go out on the scrap heap? No, there needs to be a consistent support to developing female voices, and there needs to be programs dedicated to nurturing, supporting and fostering female voices, because the men also need to get comfortable seeing that too and supporting that, and not saying, well, why is she getting the opportunity? Well, you know, because she's female. Well, no, there is the space for equal opportunity, but it has not been equal.
Yeah.
So we need to bring that balance, because otherwise we're getting fed one side of the conversation.
If you were talking about a young Alice, what would you think back in your training? What would you like to perhaps have had, which might prepare you not to not be the wonderful dancer that you were? Is there something on the side of that that you would recommend?
I think growing up, it would be great for there to be room for everybody to just attempt choreographing, you know, choreographic workshops, have time to play, but not under pressure, not to deliver a solo or not to deliver this at a performance, but just time to work on developing your own ideas, work on exercising that muscle that mightn't be flexed until you're in your mid-20s, and then it's not something that is comfortable. I think if you can lean into the discomfort early on of taking a risk, that will be huge in developing young female voices.